Just a review of what we've learned in 5.3, solve by graphing and solve by factoring when it comes to quadratics. So we're just going to recap some of those skills we've learned already. So this one is asking me to solve by graphing. So I am going to find the vertex, so negative b over 2a. Half of 2 is 1, negative 6 divided by 1 is negative 6. So I know the x-coordinate is at negative 6. Plugging in negative 6 into the original equation to find the y-coordinate. All right, negative 6 squared is negative 36. Half of negative 36 is negative 18. Negative 6 times 6 is negative 36, and then plus 10. All right, so... Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. Negative 6 squared is positive 36. So half of 36 is 18. There we go. So now here I got negative 18 plus 10. So my vertex then is negative 8 for the y-coordinate. So negative 6, negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so there's our vertex. Okay, I'm going to use my 1, 3, 5 pattern. So half... And I'm probably gonna maybe even have to do 7, we'll see. So we get 0.5, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. All right, so I'm gonna go up a half and over 1, then up 1.5 and over 1, then up 2.5 and over 1, then up 3.5 and over 1, and that gets me to a nice whole number 0. All right, so my solutions are negative 10 and negative 2. That is where my graph crosses the x-axis. All right, these ones I'm going to solve by factoring. So remember, we want to set it equal to 0 and then factor the remaining expression. So I'm going to add 7x and subtract 3. So I'm going to get 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 when I do 5 minus 3 there. All right, so factor, a is not 1, so I'm going to do 3 times 2 and get 6. So now I want numbers that multiply together to be 6, that add up to be 7, which are 1 and 6. Since our leading coefficient was not 1, we're going to reduce and bottoms up with the 3. So bottoms up there. And that reduces to just a nice whole number 2. So once it's factored, we're going to use the zero product property and set each factor equal to 0. So I have 3x plus 1 equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 1 and divide by 3. I'm going to write my solutions maybe right here. I'm going to get negative 1/3. Here I'm going to get negative 2. All right, this guy, I'm going to add 1 to the other side. So I get 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. A times c again. Numbers that multiply together to be 4 that add up to be 4 are 2 and 2. Okay, divide by our leading coefficient, reduce to 1/2, and then bottoms up. And I have identical factors, so remember I can really just solve one of these, and it's just a double root. I'm just going to have one solution. So 2x plus 1 equals 0, subtract 1 and divide by 2. I'm going to get x equals negative 1/2. Okay, here, set it equal to 0, so I'm going to do 121x squared minus 49 equals 0. Factor, it's 2 terms. I don't have a GCF, but those are difference of squares. So square root of 121x squared is 11x, and square root of 49 is 7, 1 plus and 1 minus. Okay, set each of those equal to 0. I'm actually going to get the same solution, but one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. So 11x plus 7 equals 0. Subtract 7 and divide by 11. And I'm going to get the same thing over here. Okay, because I would add 7 and then divide by 11, so I'd get a positive 7/11. All right. Okay, write a quadratic function of was zeros, -2 and 8, and it opens upward. So they don't specify what form, so I would just do factored form since it's the easiest. Okay, remember if these are our zeros, they're opposite when they're in factored form, so that would be x plus 2 and x minus 8. And as long as I have a leading coefficient that's positive, it's going to open up. So I could put a number in there, or I can leave it as just 1, doesn't matter. As long as it's positive, we're good. Okay. This one, I'm going to do the same thing. This one, they want to open down. And notice when it's in factored form, you guys, we never have fractions in there, right? We do the reduce and bottoms up to kind of get rid of the fraction. So I'm actually going to do that here. So here, if I have a 0 of 1/2, I'm going to kind of work backwards. So I know at some point it was 2x minus 1, but bottoms up would actually make it x minus 1/2. Okay, so if my 0 is positive 1/2, negative 1/2 is what I'd end up in here, but I'm going to reduce and bottoms up to get the fraction out of there. -7, x plus 7. This one they want to open downward, so I'm going to put a negative number in front. You can pick whatever you want. I'm going to do -3. So this would be a quadratic function with those two zeros, and it opens down. All right, guys, that is it for the review of 5.3.